Right, before I start this week's episode, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Tom at Airsoft Action TV for hosting my AK review on his channel. And if you've all come here and subscribed, thank you so much. Welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy this week's video, and once again, Tom and everyone else who's supported me so far, thank you very much. Anyway, enjoy. Seeing as I have a brew, it's probably time we talk about some pew. Right, so earlier today I was perusing the G&G 2019 catalogue. Definitely sorry about that. And I obviously stumbled across the rifle that I have been wanting for a while, the G&G Lee Enfield. That got me thinking, as a video idea, how about I talk about my kind of opinions on what you should do when buying rifles from various different places, or pistols or any other kind of airsoft gun, to avoid disappointment and really make sure you're getting something that you definitely want. So, we might as well start with basics. First time players, you're wanting to buy guns, right? Well, if you're watching this, and I don't know why you are, but if you're watching this and you've never played a game of airsoft in your life, don't go out and buy some airsoft kit before playing. If you want to buy guns because they're cool, cool. But come play airsoft first so you get an idea of what the sport is and whether or not you actually like the sport. So most, if not all, sites have hire guns, and that is the way into the sport. Come play some games, come hire some kit. If you really want to buy stuff because you really think this is the way forward, don't buy guns. Buy the most important part. Buy the Eye Pro, buy the Face Pro, and then the rest will fall into place later. If there's one thing that is certain in airsoft, no matter what you pay for a rifle, you are never going to get that back. Even if you buy it and then go, actually I don't want it, and try and sell it away brand new boxed, you will still lose money on it. If you have now been playing, and you have, especially if you're in the UK, have gained the status of UCARA, not a license, just you are a registered site member and a valid skirmisher, and that shops are willing to sell to you. Some simple observations that I think are a good way to make sure you get the rifle you really want. 1, don't buy a sniper rifle as your first rifle. All that's going to do is set you back in terms of play. Now, don't get me wrong, sniping has its place in airsoft and it's really cool. The issue is, if you've not been playing that long, you don't quite understand the game properly, and normally you'll just have a bad time sniping because you either not buy a rifle that's going to perform the best, and you're going to think because you have a sniper rifle you have the range, you have the accuracy, and then you're just going to be stomped over by someone with an upgraded gun who's outranging you. That being said, if you really have your heart set on being a sniper, spend the money and get a good rifle. At the moment, off the top of my head, SRSs are generally considered to be top tier sniper rifles, but obviously they have the costs associated with that. Novrich SSG, it is a rebrand of the modified, but they do seem to perform well out of the box. Someone, he I think it was shooting just shy of 500 FPS, done nothing to it, using I think 4s in it, and it was putting BBs out to the 91 meters on the range. By the way, that's actual meters, the range that has been measured. So yeah, very good out of the box. Trying to think if there are any. Well, obviously, TM VSR rifles are generally pretty good, but most people do a lot of upgrades to them. So if you really want to go down the sniping route, be prepared to spend the money on it. And the other thing I'd say is buy an assault rifle as well. So if you are playing with a sniper rifle and you're having a bad day, you can just put it down, pick up your assault rifle and just go rush people. Because there's nothing worse than spending the entire day not getting any kills, getting shot loads, and just generally having a bad time. Part 2 is something I didn't really follow, but it's don't buy a unique rifle as your first rifle. So I bought ICS L86, big beastie gun. I would say this kind of falls under the unique, but kind of also doesn't, because it actually takes M4 mags, and I think it's standard gear sets in it. But which that one, many issues arose. I problem solved, found the issues, and got them sorted. I should probably mention, as I was part of a university society, I also had their hire fleet to fall back on. So I had a bit less of a risk buying my first gun, because technically it wasn't my first gun. My first gun was a club hire gun. Anyway, back to the previous me talking. I'd recommend, if you're not wanting to mess around internally with many rifles and you just want a rifle to play with, go down the route of getting a combat machine. Newport Defenders, Valken have the battle machines. Get a well-known rifle that is known to be pretty good, and also, if there are any issues with it, it is a known rifle, so your field or your local shop's tech should be able to work on them fairly easily. My third observation when buying your first gun is, don't just look it up online and then order it. Make the effort, go to a shop or ask around your local field if anyone has one, and see if you can get your hands on with it and feel it and test it, because there's nothing worse than going and ordering a gun online, receiving it, and then realising it's not for you, it's just not your style. Yeah, there is nothing better than getting hands on with the gun before purchase to make sure it's actually something you'd like. And that applies to not just your first gun, but to pretty much any purchase. I'd recommend at least trying to get your hands on beforehand to see if you actually like it. Then again, if you've got the cash to splash and you don't mind the risk, by all means go ahead and buy it. Nothing's stopping you from doing that. I left uni, this time last year, so I'm still very much in the how cheap can I get it mindset, and let's face it, the best way to get cheap stuff in Airsoft is to buy second hand. And of my collection that I have around me at the moment, you've got L85 in the back, you've got a bit foul sitting on the table, L86, gas blowback and grenade launcher L85. My pride and joy, my wood furniture SLR, E&L AK from the review, Classic Army MP5. Yeah, I think that's everything around me. Of those, rifles I've bought new, L85, L86 OSW, and the AK. The rest of them are all second hand. Yeah, I bought a lot of second hand in my time, and second hand is great for a couple of reasons. One, cost. Two, Airsoft manufacturers, as big as they may seem, are tiny in comparison to most manufacturers, and they don't make an awful lot of stuff. And when they stop a run of guns, they don't start them up for a very long time, or they just don't ever start them up again. So getting hold of guns that you really, really want, but aren't in production anymore, there's only really one way to do that. Now, admittedly, that's not the reason I bought most of these. That's the reason I bought this one. King Arms don't make the SLR at the moment, and in my opinion it's better than the Ares one, so I got that. Same with the grenade launcher on the L85. Not made at the moment, so when that came up second hand I jumped on that. So what I'm getting into is there are lots of benefits to buying second hand over buying new in the store. There are also lots of pitfalls. Number one is fully upgraded. Now, what does fully upgraded mean? Basically, most of the time when someone says, "Oh, it's fully upgraded," yeah, all the internal's done. It means I had a go, I opened it up, and I've probably messed it up somehow. Now that's not always true. So the way around that, the way to figure that out is A, do they have a video of it shooting and they can prove the date they filmed it. So for instance, if you say, really interested in this, can you send me a video of it working, and can you put a sign in it, hold up a sign with the date on it, and your username for instance. That's a good way if you're buying it online. Now, I tend to, when I'm selling stuff, if I've done any work on it, I will give the person a full parts list of it, and I tend to also reopen it, take a photo of it all to prove it's there. Most techs tend to be pretty proud of their work and will document it enough to be able to show you the issue, or show you what they've done to it. How they might even be sad enough to run a YouTube channel and make a video about the upgrades they're doing. Custom paint job. Most people think a custom paint job adds value, but it really doesn't. As soon as someone has added their own paint job to it, the price should be much, much lower than retail. So yeah, the big issues with second-hand selling is you don't know what's happened to that gun internally, and you don't know if what they're saying is actually the case. So my big rules about second-hand buying is try and get video proof with the date of it working. Never pay PayPal friends and family. If they insist price it friends and family and you really want that gun and you're willing to, don't pay friends and family. Figure out the cost of it to give them that much money, but with buyer's assurance, so goods and services, and pay them that much. And if you can, try and do face-to-face and do either PayPal then and there or cash in hand. Now, face-to-face can be quite hard, but there tends to be second-hand boot sales on, so Midlands Airsoft Fair is a good example. Combat South and UCAP and South Coast EQB all do boot sales, which is great. I know definitely Combat South, and I think South Coast definitely do test ranges, so you can go along and if you're buying it, go, hey, can I take it to the range and test it? And then away you go, and hopefully then you can get a feel for it, make sure it's working, and then bring it home. If you are going to do a face-to-face, I advise against inviting them to your house, because all the best will in the world, there may be people out there who will use that knowledge to their advantage, and it's just best not to play it that way. Try and get them to come down and meet at a local game day. Then you can even test it and buy it off them then or there. Now, the other hard part of second-hand buying is looking for boneyard kit to buy and restore. I've seen, and I shall put some links to, both Thin Brown Line and Purple Helmet do boneyard searches and buys. Those are great if you either are A, looking to buy a cheap gun to learn to tech on, or B, know what you're looking for and want to get a bargain. Again, I come back to £90 for this, £20 spent on a new nozzle, working gun. Grenade launcher, not included in that. Funny fact, grenade launcher cost me more than the gun did. This one, paid 250 quid for it, would be worth a lot more. I mean, it was 250 quid plastic, not wood. Low FPS, and you've seen in the I broke the SLR video, it turns out the nozzle length was the wrong length, so that was under a £10 fix, really. Obviously I've done a lot more to it to get it to my taste, but that was always my plan, and I've always wanted one, and I knew the issues that I could have going into it. But obviously it's a case of weighing it up each time. The thing with second-hand buying is you need to do your research into it and don't feel pressured into buying it. Basically, you need to do a cost-benefit analysis when buying second-hand. Okay, if I pay this much and it all goes wrong, how much is it going to cost me to fix it? Is it actually just better for me to go and be safe and spend the money on buying a new gun? Because most companies will give you a warranty or even I can't remember what they call it, an unloved period of, actually I bought it, I don't like it, and give it back. But if you are smart about it and you do find the right deal, you can pick up very good kit for not much money, especially if the seller doesn't know what they have. Basically, the more research you do, the better off you'll be in the long run. But there will always be times where you'll buy something and it'll actually turn out to be a dud, and there's not much you can do about that. But yeah, never feel pressured and never rush into buying something. If they try and put a time constraint on you and you don't feel comfortable, just walk away. There will always be another one that will come up at some point. We're going on to guns that have just come out. or just new guns that you want to buy. Normally, I'm not an early adopter of any form of technology. I tend to wait a generation or two until the reviews start coming in and people start finding the initial flaws and then those flaws being addressed. I never really want to buy the first gen of anything because there could always be issues. For instance, I believe the very first few Evos, they didn't quite protect the MOSFET circuitry in it, and there were issues where if they walked into power lines, or at least I've heard, if they walked into power lines, the gun would start firing. Obviously, that isn't the case at the moment because hundreds, if not thousands, of people have Evos and they all are great nowadays. So obviously, ASG got wind of this and fixed it very quickly, which top marks them. And again, the GBLS DAS, the two major feedbacks were. Initial feedback was trigger pull is hard as hell, and the hop is very inconsistent. Now part of that was people using soft BBs in it and then being munched, and part of that was, I think, some design with the bolt face nozzle. And DAS, to their credit, went away, made the trigger pull lighter, and redesigned it so it feeds and hops much better. And a lot of people are very happy with their DASs now. Despite the gargantuan price tag on them. Things like the Lee Enfield here, I'm very much two minds about because I already want it. I was very tempted by the RWA Lee Enfield till I got my hands on it and in a showroom, and it wasn't particularly nice. The hop up's weird. You have to take the gun apart to adjust it. The bolt felt like you were destroying it when you pulled it back. It was crunch, clack, crunch, scrape, grind, crack, 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 pop. Smooth. And then, to its credit, the trigger pull was very nice and very smooth. But I just didn't feel like that was a £500 well spent for that. On the other hand, the Lee Enfield, when the G&G Lee Enfield, when it drops, I'm very intrigued to see how it works, and I may be an early adopter. Yeah, G&G Lee Enfield. If anyone's watching this and has one and wants to send it to me for me to have a look at, I would love to get my hands on it. I mean, I've been looking forward to this rifle since I first found out about it properly. So, Airsoftology video 2 and a bit years ago. No joke. You can ask my friend Chris, who runs Super Fives. Every time he'll send a message out to a group chat saying, "Hey, I'm doing an order. Does anyone want anything?" First thing I always say is G&G Lee Enfield, and he'll be there like, "You've been saying this for 2.5 years, Ben. It's not funny anymore." And I'll be like, "I don't care. I want it. Get it for me." Anyway, I've been rambling for quite a while. My camera actually just stopped recording because it's been rambling for half an hour. Moral of the story: if you're just getting into airsoft, wait, come play the game, hire first, and then once you've decided you definitely like the sport and you've kind of got an idea of what gun you want, then look at buying. Those of you who want to buy a new gun, make sure you actually get some hands-on experience with it to know that you actually really like that gun before you buy it, else you might be disappointed. And if you're looking at buying second-hand, just do your research first and make sure you know what you're buying and the risks involved with buying it before you buy it. And if you're really worried and want a safe way to buy second-hand, boot fairs and meetups are the best way to do it. Finally, if any of you have access to the G&G Lee Enfield and want to know my opinions on it, I'll be more than happy to have a look at it. I'll be more than happy to buy it. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. And if you are looking forward to more of me sucking at gameplay, doing bad reviews, or just chatting at a camera for a while, try and hit that subscribe button and drop me a like. And I have an Instagram account, I think it's English Kiwi Airsoft. I post photos on there, so check that out. If not, hopefully see you soon.